Episode 218, As the Cookie Crumbles, from March 9th, 1982.
So, this week, we begin with Jackie and Sarah sitting at home. Sarah has made her grandmother's cookies because she's depressed, because she can't find a job. Henry comes down and sees his daughter being very depressed, not only because she can't find a job, but she owes 3 months back rent. Monroe shows up and immediately realizes how depressed Sarah is because she's making the cookies. But then April comes in and tells Henry that Muriel needs some help with the suitcases for their week-long trip to Vegas. And we also discover at this point that April is having a hard time finding a job, so everyone is eating the cookies that Sarah made. Then they decide that they should start selling these cookies. So they go upstairs and ask Henry for $100.
A solid investment.
Henry laughs, but then Muriel says, I'll give him the $100. So later, like much later in the week, the business seems to be taking off. And Jackie's going crazy because she can't even make some food in the kitchen.
The last thing she wants to eat is more Grandma Rush's cookies.
Yeah, she's sick of these cookies. And there's flour all over the house. The whole house is, the whole living room, at least the part of the house we can see.
There's a lot of flour in these cookies.
Yeah. And then Sarah says they've begun making cosmic cow cookies for kids. And then Monroe shows up with a guy he's hired to help make these cookies named Juan. Then the phone rings, and Sarah gets an order for 50 bags of cosmic cow cookies. I guess there's a dozen in each bag.
Yeah, and they want them by tomorrow afternoon.
That's right, for the next day. So Sarah quickly does the math and realizes that they need more ovens to bake these cookies. So Monroe and Juan go upstairs to make the cookies upstairs, making a mess, leaving a trail of flour behind them. So upstairs, we find Monroe and Juan standing in a destroyed kitchen making cookies. Juan doesn't speak English. He's screwing up the recipe from the get-go. So God knows what any of these cookies will taste like once they're made. Just then, Henry and Muriel come home early from their Las Vegas vacation and go upstairs and discover the destroyed kitchen. So now, April, Monroe, Sarah, and Juan are lined up like criminals waiting for Henry to come out. And then he comes out to some music. What was going on there, Marty?
That was very strange.
Like he was coming out to taps or something. And Henry chews them out and just puts them all in their place, as he often does. What the hell was that?
That was one of those drums going off
Oh, did you do that purposely?
when Henry walked out. It's kind of like that.
Okay. That threw me a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
Well, it threw me when I was watching the episode. I was kind of like, what?
Monroe suggests that they bring in some starving children from around the country to eat the kitchen clean. He estimates it will take about 3 weeks. Then Henry starts questioning them about their business model and discovers that they don't have a business license. Just then, 2 people from the government show up and fine them for not having the proper paperwork, which pretty much eats up all the profit they've made selling these cookies. Then we get our second phone call, one-sided phone call. This time, it's from Henry's publisher's lawyer, who informs him that he needs to stop selling these Cosmic Cow cookies immediately or he will lose his job. And then an immigration officer shows up at the door, coming to take away one. But instead, Henry hands over Monroe. That was a fun one.
That brings up an interesting point that Henry doesn't own Cosmic Cow.
He doesn't own the licensing to it. He has sold that away.
So when season 6 happens, maybe somebody else is taking over drawing Cosmic Cow. We'll never know for sure. So we had April the Interloper, definitely this week. She was definitely interloping. I got a great idea. Let's sell these cookies. You know, I think the reason they had to get rid of April is because it's like having two Monroes around, and that's just two Monroes too many. She got them in a lot of trouble, potentially. Guest stars galore. We had Juan Garza, Reynolds, the health official, and Jenkins. I guess Reynolds and Jenkins were two of the other people that showed up. That's just what the closing credits said. So, Cosmic Cow? Was Cosmic Cow relevant to this episode? Yes. We had Cosmic Cow cookies. You got to see the drawing board. And then the syndication deal fell through, churning out a daily strip. Okay, so does that mean Cosmic Cow's a weekly? Like Life in Hell or Red Meat? Like you'd see these strips that only run once a week and like the weekly. Is it something like that? Have we solved the mystery? But it doesn't make sense because we see him reading Cosmic Cow comic book.
I believe it was let's say a monthly comic book, maybe a bi-weekly. I find that hard. That's a lot. You got to turn out a lot of work. But if he's doing bi-weekly, he was apparently going to some sort of conference in Vegas to meet with maybe newspaper people about syndicating Cosmic Cow.
Mm-hmm.
But couldn't they simply just take well, I guess it's a whole different deal, but yeah, it's definitely a comic book at this point, and it always has been. This was the opportunity to turn it into a daily strip.
Well, Henry's sweaters, he wore the Yale with the pockets. Monroe was wearing stripes. One-sided phone conversations, 3. There was 3. We had Henry to Jackie, Sarah to the customer, and then Kaplan to Henry. 3 instances of Henry pointing. Well, that's not very many, but Henry wasn't the main focus of this episode, so he was away. But we did get one good Henry stammer. Lawsuit? And the El Camino drive-by started the episode off, as well as the long intro featuring Monroe in the cookbook, which was very fitting. But maybe I'm crazy, but I could have sworn that scene is actually in an episode, and I don't think it was in this one. And also, when you think about it, why would he have to look at the cookbook to make Grandma Rush's cookies?
And I don't remember if he was using that, if that was a scene from when he was making the Miss Shack cheesecake.
It's possible.
Or not. Unfortunately, I don't remember.
Yep. Maybe when we get to the season 2 recap. Music cues. We had the one note happen twice, and then we had that strange drum cue.
Right.
On a scale of 1 to 5, this one's just a personal favorite of mine because I remember seeing this one years ago. Nostalgia, so I give it a 5. Just because of that. If I didn't have a nostalgia factor, I'd probably still give this a 4. Bizarre Odd Happenings. Oh, yeah. You finished? A Destroyed Kitchen. Diet Lasagna. Apparently Muriel got sick from eating diet lasagna. Why is she eating diet anything? She's pregnant. 1981 copyright on this 1982 episode because it was production number 217, which means it was made before some of the others that haven't been shown yet or were shown already. It gets confusing when you start talking about production number. What did we learn this week? Well, as a kid, this episode taught me about copyright, among many other things, such as getting a business license and that type of shit. But what I really want to know is, why didn't they get a license after the fact? They just gave up.
Well, they were going to... I mean, if they just stuck with Grandma's cookies and not gone with the Cosmic Cow cookie.
Exactly. Maybe tried to license the Cosmic Cow cookie. After all, you do know Henry Rush.
Who knows the guy who owns the copyright?
Exactly. Well, next week we go right back into the toilet, guys. This one's an okay episode, but everybody's got their different opinions, and this is probably one of my least favorite of Season 2 coming up, just because, But your mileage may vary. Next time, Episode 219, Foreign Exchange. Henry worries over Jackie and Sarah's apartment exchange.
You can hear my show on Stitcher. Stitcher is radio on demand. Download the free app today. Listen anytime, anywhere.
Create custom playlists. Rate and review my show on Stitcher. And over 4 million car dashboards.
On demand and on the go. No downloading, no syncing, no wasted memory. Stream your favorite podcasts. Don't have Stitcher? Download it free today at Stitcher.com or in the App Store.